What's up everyone? Today we're going to be installing our heated floors along with our vinyl plank flooring.
Okay, we have everything marked out. We're going to route out all of these little squiggly lines over to this area. That's where we'll run our power supply to, and then eventually hook all of these wires into a switch somewhere in this area. Yeah, let's hope for the best. We've never used a router before. Could get interesting. Turns out pretty out of control with the router. Definitely not my best look. But we put all of the mats in, all of the wires are recessed now, and everything fits. So I guess that's good enough, huh? Since we don't have any of our electrical ran, we're just plugging these into the DC outlet and the dash and waiting for them to warm up. That way we know they work. Okay, they all passed the warming up test, and now we have to map out on the floor where all of the wires will be recessed and make a little drawing of that for the future. That way we know not to put any screws through the wires or any holes, because right in this area we will have a drain hole for the sink, and we'll also have some wires coming up from underneath. So hopefully we don't ever hit those. Check this map out, you guys. Oof, don't act like you're not impressed.
Our last piece is a little bit long for the space, so we're going to cut it to make it fit, because there's going to be a bench right through there over the hot water heater.
We have the heated floor mats installed, and now it's time to start on the vinyl plank flooring. We'll be starting along this edge here because that's our longest straight edge, and that should make things easier as we progress. Of course, the very first piece isn't square on the end, so we're using this little contour gauge to get the angle right for that, and then hopefully we can start moving forward. Right, the floor is in. It took us about 4 boxes, and this is all the scrap that we had left over. So we're cutting it pretty close, and we're doing everything that we could not to break into that 5th box we had. So we'll be taking that one back. This is the final result. We are pretty stoked on it. It's actually starting to look like something, which is exciting.
Thanks for watching today's video, and as always, we're going to go over our tips, tricks, mistakes, and cost.
We'll first be discussing the heated floors, and on those, they're pretty easy to put in, really. We bought our heated floors from Expedition Upfitters. The first tip on those is when you're installing them, be sure to route all of the wires down into your subfloor. That way, when you install your final flooring, whatever it may be, you don't have these like little lumps in the floor from where the wires are, so absolutely do that. Another tip is each individual heated floor section has to be on its own switch. Unfortunately, you can't daisy chain them together, so that's kind of annoying, but definitely something to keep in mind. It would be better, to me at least, if we could have just hooked them all to one switch, because we want all of them on at the same time regardless. But I think the reason you can't is it's too many amps for most switches, so we have 3 sections and 3 switches it is. And they are DC heated floors, which is also great because they pull barely any power at all, especially in comparison to like ones that you would have in your home. So that's why we went with them. And I don't know if you saw our insulation video, but we didn't insulate our floors, and this is the reason why. And the heated floors only are like maybe a 1/16 of an inch thick, so we had that much more headspace up top instead of putting like an inch of foam insulation, which I don't really know about the floor. I think the floor is going to be cold regardless, so we like warm toes. We went with heated floors.
So to start laying the actual plank flooring, you're going to want to start on the longest, straightest wall. We couldn't do that because of our shower, so we started on the right where our door is and then went that way. Which
eventually turned into be our longest, straightest wall, just because the shower encroached on the other area, and then eventually right after the shower you'd be into the wheel well shortly thereafter, so it did end up being the longest straight wall for us. But thinking back on it, if we didn't have a shower, I definitely would have started on the far wall. That way the floor couldn't shift as you put it in. Having it be at the sliding door, it definitely like went outside of the doors at some points when we were like hammering it in, so would have been easier to have like a solid wall to start on and go off of that.
And a good tip is to have one of those little hammers that you saw me using. It's a rubber on one side and kind of this hard plastic on the other. That was crucial to be able to knock the flooring together and lock it in its place with the other piece. And the contour tool that we used to do all the curves and like all the funky cuts around the flooring at the very top was definitely crucial. So and overall, the install of the heated floors and the flooring was pretty easy and pretty straightforward, so it was nice to have that little project then. And the total cost of the heated floors, the flooring, all the tools, and everything we needed was $869.81.
Thanks so much for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next one.